Thank you for joining us for Fox 21 Local News at 5 p.m. I'm Scott Kilberry. We begin tonight with breaking news in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs police are on the scene of a nasty accident tonight. This, in fact, is a live look as we speak at the intersection of Bijou and Circle. The entire intersection is shut down. The driver of this blue pickup you see right here seriously injured in the crash and taken to an area hospital. Right now, they are in critical but stable condition. Now, according to police, the driver of the SUV ran from the scene after the crash before hijacking another car and driving away. CSPD is requesting citizens to please avoid the area. As you can see, it is a very active situation. We will have more details for you as the evening goes on. Once again, a live look from the intersection of Bijou and Circle. His fellow cows standing guard trying to protect him. In fact, they're beefing up security. Fans embarking on an annual pilgrimage to honor the late king of rock and roll. Hundreds of Elvis fans and impersonators boarding the Elvis Express today. The group heading to the Elvis Festival in Australia's Outback, and they couldn't be more excited. Those aboard the train reveling in songs during the hours-long trek. Of course, the annual festival is expected to attract close to, get this, 30,000 people. So if you can't make it, well, you just may feel a little shook up. Taylor.
Oh.
Don't be cruel.
Hunk of burning love right there.
Gardner was in Colorado Springs today answering questions from constituents, but it wasn't a town hall, rather a meeting not open to the public. That actually has some concern that their voices aren't being heard.
The kinds of opportunities that people who have different opinions that are expressing themselves just a few feet away from here.
Corey Gardner took questions from the small crowd of about 75 people at Cheyenne Mountain Resort.
I would like to see the Bureau of Land Management located in Grand Junction, Colorado.
He was invited to speak by the Colorado Springs Chamber of Commerce, and only members were permitted to attend.
I've talked to a number of employees and businesses and chambers around the state.
During the third and second to last question, a mariachi band interrupted Gardner.
Several of our community members have requested for community meetings on town halls that actually invite the whole community.
The group's program director says Latinos in Colorado have been trying to speak to the senator, but haven't been successful.
Yes, constantly. We have had several opportunities that we have requested from his staff to have meetings with the Latino community, and he has not really been responsive.
While Senator Gardner was inside, there were at least a couple dozen protesters outside, wondering if they'll ever get a chance to meet with him face to face. So what brings you out here today?
Trying to get access to our political system. I am not a paid protester. I'm unemployed.
If I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Gardner, I would first of all ask for him to hold a public, accessible town hall. There are lots of us that would love that opportunity.
We've held dozens of forums, town halls over the past many years, held a number of teletown halls just in the past several weeks. I think we've had over 44,000 people who've participated in our teletown halls.
No, he hasn't had an in-person town hall. He's had multiple telephone town halls, but no one from Colorado Springs has gotten through with a question. So we're not being heard.
Now, Gardner did speak at the meeting and talk about health care, taxes, and the president's budget proposals, which include cutting the EPA. And he assured the crowd that it's just a proposal, doesn't mean that it will be approved. Now, he also did add that he hopes to have another teletown hall. In the meantime, if constituents want to reach out to him, he encourages them to go through his local office.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
In tonight's special report, it was during this 1995 State of the Union address by then President Bill Clinton announcing he would be signing the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act. It allowed the government to detain and deport immigrants, even legal permanent U.S. residents, for a range of relatively minor nonviolent criminal convictions, even after they may have served time. Opponents say that the U.S. is still using these laws to authorize fast-track deportations. Now, those deportations even include U.S. military veterans, among them one decorated soldier right here in Colorado Springs.
I felt like I needed to go out and serve the country.
At just 18 years old, Manuel Valenzuela felt a calling to serve his country.
Do something. I said I'm going to do my duty as a Marine.
In 1971, while some were avoiding the draft and even leaving the country to do so, Valenzuela enlisted and went to Vietnam.
What we did, we were in the border of Vietnam, in the shores, and we would do rescue missions into Nam. Of course, to rescue somebody, you had to put down the enemy. So that's what we had to do. And get those guys out of there.
He followed in his older brother's footsteps, who also fought in Vietnam. But despite their years of service, he and his brother, Valente, are now facing deportation from the very country they were fighting for.
And then in 2009, get a removal notice from this country. I felt like my world just stopped right there.
He and his brother were born in Mexico, but their mother is American, which by law would entitle them to citizenship. Valenzuela believes it was a misdemeanor he and his brother admitted guilt to decades ago that may also be hurting their cause. He says it's the demons of combat that too many vets are faced with coping with on their own.
That was our medication, you know, drinking and drugs. That was our help that time, because we didn't have no help from the VA.
And now, in light of the administration's deportation sweeps, Valenzuela is fearful he could be next.
We're getting really bad dudes out of this country.
According to recent reports, any immigrant with a blemish on their record is a priority for deportation. Valenzuela believes there are anywhere from 3,000 to 30,000 vets facing deportation.
I didn't tell my brother. I didn't tell nobody. I felt embarrassed. I felt shame. I felt hurt. I don't know what to say. You know, there's words that I can't even describe how ugly I felt.
While Valenzuela continues his fight, he's also advocating for other veterans facing deportation, speaking to lawmakers wherever he can, including right here at the state capitol.
I think there are compelling reasons to recognize someone who has fought for our country. And I believe the Valenzuela brothers are both decorated Vietnam veterans, deserve all of the rights and privileges of citizenship.
People are putting their lives on the line for our country and our rights. They have given us everything we have. We should do everything we can to give back to them.
Even at the national level, Congressman Doug Lamborn of the U.S. Armed Services Committee acknowledged that red tape is getting in the way.
We have a system that is so bureaucratized, it needs reform and can never succeed the way it's set up, I'm afraid.
As Valenzuela waits to hear the fate of his permanent residency, he's rarely at his residence as he travels nearly every other week to help his military brothers from San Francisco to Arizona, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. And when he is at home, Valenzuela's message can be heard loud and clear.
It's a harsh awakening, you know, that to get a removal notice from a country that we brought each other home from wars, you know.
Manuel Valenzuela's permanent resident card expires at the end of this year. Now, he hopes by then he'll have closure on his case and be able to stay in the country that he fought for and has called home for nearly 60 years. You can follow Manuel and Valente Valenzuela's journey on their website. We have a link under this story at fox21news.com.